Hey everybody, this is Pissed Rhino. Today I'm going to go through Green with Envy. I'm going to talk about all the parts that are in it one by one, and I'm going to talk about why I chose those parts so you can have my opinions. Now, I just want to say these are just my opinions. They're based on my testing and my review. So take it with a grain of salt. Unless you think I'm worth more than a grain of salt, then you might consider the parts that I'm talking about. At no time have I been paid or anything. You guys know the drill. I don't get anything from anybody. These are just my opinions based on what I've done here. So, one by one, let's get started. So, the big elephant is the Mias Ripper chassis. I've had several different types of chassis. I've had all the Mias, I've had Beast Mode, and I've had low center of gravity chassis, all the carbon fiber chassis, even Fairtech. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to keep the stock body, then I would suggest the Furatech. I know Endure and Mias make chassis for them, but to me, the Furatech was much easier to build on, and it had all the appropriate connections. So, if you're going that route, I'd suggest that chassis. But as overall all chassis go, so far, to me, the Ripper chassis is the best. Everything connects to it easily. It's easy to build. It's easy to take care of. And when you put it together, you know every screw that's in it. So it makes it a lot more personal, which is what we're doing this for, right? We're making our own personalized vehicles for fun. So, all right. So Ripper chassis. I'm not going to talk about the vinyl because one, you can't get it yet, and two, you don't have to have it. This is just something I put on my vehicles to make them stand out, and they do stand out really well. So, all right. So, starting off, trail, transmission plate, skid plate, whatever you want to call it. I've used every color in the rainbow from Trill. I've used other people's. And to me, what I would go with is the Trill brass transmission skid plate. I have it on orange, and it's the same quality as the colored ones, but it's solid brass, so it gives you that extra little weight down low. So, but I chose this for the color. That's sad choosing parts just for color, but these are kind of show trucks. I don't know. I don't want to call them show trucks, but because they can crawl too, which I'll be showing that later. Not in this video, but other videos. Next up are the links. Now, originally my favorite links were the Endura round links that had the plastic polymer ends on it. And the reason I like that is because you could adjust them, and also they could free float a little bit. They could move, give you that little extra bit of flex. So if you're into flex, I suggest the Endura frickin' links. If you are for crawling and weight, which weight's the key to all of these. All of these are near 1,000 grams, so weight is very important. So I choose the Mias brass links. Main reason is they float freely. I mean, it takes nothing. A lot of them I've seen are hard to move, like the Trill. Even Even without the O-rings on the trail, they're still kind of stiff. These, I did nothing to them. I didn't remove anything. And they go on perfectly, and they have all kinds of movement, which is what you need in the link. Next up, let's see. I think. Well, let's just do drive shafts. Drive shafts, GPM. And they are better than all the rest that I've tried. I've tried Endura, Mias, Trill, which they're all of those are the exact same, by the way. They're all the exact same design. This is different. This is like a ball and socket type deal. So why are these better? Because they don't lock up. Full extension. Shocks fully out. Look at that drive shaft angle. And they don't hang up. And that's why I get GPMs. The design is different and it's better. So keep that in mind. They also, one guy was worried about that they're not shaped to the pinions. Well, the reason they do that is because this pin holds it all together. If there's a binding at the transmission or down here at the wheels, that hopefully that pin is going to break first before destroying everything inside here and everything inside here. These are just things to think about. I mean, you can use Endura. If you have stock shocks, the Endura, Mias, and Trill are probably going to be just fine. But when you start lifting it and putting some angle on these drive shafts, GPM are the only way to go. Again, my opinion based on my testing, but those seem to be very controversial. So, let's go to servo mounts. Mias lay down servo. Now, it's the only way to go. Fits great, works great. Even on trails, it does its job very well. Diff covers, I would say if you're smart, you would leave the brass Mias diff covers on these Mias portals. Me, going for the color scheme, I put the green ones on from Trio. Anything you want anodized, Trio parts are superb. Absolutely superb. So that leads me into the drive shaft itself. One great thing about the Mias portals is that you get everything. So for $109, you get a set of portals, axles, diffs, C hubs, and knuckles. You get all of that. If you take a standard Trill axle housing and put everything in it, just one, you're looking over $120. So with the Mias, you get two, and they're very good quality. Very good quality. Now, if you're looking for a non-portal axle, I use Trills, but I don't know that I'd recommend them. I had one axle housing that tore up two different diffs, and I'm not sure why. I didn't spend a lot of time investigating it, but I do know there's something in that drive shaft or axle housing. There just has to be. I don't know if it's a missed CNC process or if there's a big chunk in there. I don't know what it is, but so also portals. If you for some reason don't like the Mias, the trail portals are good. I got those on red, ruby. But the big reason I go for Mias is twofold. You've got a different mount for your shock than your link. So on the trails, you stack those up. So you got the link, then you got the mount, then you got the shock, and then you got a screw going through all of them. So on the trails, you have to remove everything to be able to change your shocks. And that sucks, especially when you do it as much as I do it, when I'm changing things, trying things. I mean, it can take me an hour to do a whole truck just because they're trail and not Mias. So right now I can take this and take all 4 of these shocks off just by undoing this screw. My links don't fall out. I don't have to worry about putting them back in. The only downfall is the Mias portals are adjustable by angle. Right here you see this clamp. So you have to loosen this clamp up and pretty much take this off to do your links. But your links, you usually don't change out your links. I do, but normally your links stay the same. So you only have to do that once. Loosen this up, pull it off, put your link on, put the screw in, put this back in, which amazingly goes back together really easy. And then your shocks are separate, so you can take these off as many times as you want, and you'll be good to go. So that's to me, that's planning for the future. Meaning that I know I can take the shocks off real quick whenever I need to. I can change them, I can take the springs off of them, I can do whatever I need to do quickly with the Mias portals, whereas with the trails it's going to be an hour. So, but the trail portals are just as good. I haven't had an issue with trail portals. The quality's there. It's just this design is way better. So, I don't know. Alright, so we've got the servo mount, we've got the diff cover, the diff. The diff gears in here are the standard Mias. Haven't had issues with any of those yet, so I just left all that stock. Whatever came with the portal is in there. I think it's everything on the bottom. So, let's try to go to the top. Alright, so servos. Y'all know my thoughts on this. These servos, if you take this servo out and move it around side to side, you can barely hear the gear mesh. And it's smooth as silk. You grab an Endura or a Mias or any of those, and you're going to hear the gears. Just moving it by hand. And that's just a sign of quality, that their gear mesh is so properly done that there's no sound and no friction. So, I mean, I can show you right now. Barely anything. That's a Mias servo. Hear that? Nothing but linkage noise. Maybe a little bit, but not much at all. So that's a sign of quality. Plus, I have yet to have an issue with one of these. I've had probably the RS100M, I've probably had 20, maybe 18, somewhere in there. And I haven't had an issue, seen an issue, heard of an issue. They're just great servos. Servo horns. NSDRC servo horn fits the NSDRC servo, which is very hard to find servo horns that do. So when you pick up the NSDRC RS100M, go ahead, get the servo horn, and it'll just make your life that much easier. The one thing about the Mias 12 kilogram servos, and I don't know if they still do, but the ones that were sent to me came with the servo horn, and the servo horn fit perfect, made everything, installation and everything, so much easier. So if Mias is still including that, that's an option. But for $5 more, you can get the NSDRC, and why wouldn't you? So with that being said, I have on this one now, wheels and tires are up to you. I mean, all wheels and tires are close to the same. 3Flow9 RC sells these cool center lug nuts, but you have to have this special key so nobody can steal your wheels while you're, in the parking lot or whatever. It's a joke. So on this one, I have the Trill 10 millimeter, 17 gram weighted extensions. Those are good, and if you want the weight, you have to go this route. And the Trills fit the Mias portals. The Mias weights will not fit the Mias portals, and the Trill weights will not fit the Trill portals. I know that sounds stupid, but it's the way it is. But if you can go with a little less weight, these are 9 or 8 grams. Ramp Crab, I know it's a generic company, but they're the only ones that come with the pin technology. So the same pin that holds, not the same, but close to the same pin that holds the GPM drive shafts onto your vehicle, goes inside these and holds these to your axle, so that these never come off, unless of course you break something. But when you take the tire and wheel off, this don't fall out in your hand. And I hate that, because then the pin falls out, and then I'm all about saving time with good quality parts. So the Trill weights are great. The Mias weights are great. They do their job. But the Ramp Crabs fit both portals. You don't have to worry about that. And, 2, they're cheap. And 3, they never come off in your hand when you take the wheel and tire off. So you never lose a pin. You don't have to worry about pins anymore. Pins will go away. So I have the Ramp Crabs on 3 of my trucks, and 2 of them have the 3Flow9 RC lug nuts. And the reason I got those, they're pretty dang cool. They do the job. They replace the extended nuts that come with them with the extended weights. So 2 of my trucks have those, and 3 have the ramp crabs. And as you saw, I still have an extra set of ramp crabs in case they are needed. So we've went through the suspension. I'll go ahead and tell you my wheel and tire combo. So if I have to have a good crawling vehicle, I'm going to a competition, I'm going to get the LGRP Swamp Kings 64 millimeters of stickiness. As you can see, mine only go down so much because I have a 1.55 inch weight inside. So they make wheels that are 1.55 inches. SSD makes them. And the weight, they have the center brass weight, just like, the 1-inch wheels, only it's for a 1.55 wheel. So what I do is I stick that inside the tire first, then I put in the regular foam, and then I put in the 1-inch brass weight, and then I set up my tire, my wheel. And what that gives you is a wheel that weighs 100 grams. So that gives you 400 grams on the ground, unsprung weight. So now with the Ripper, the center of gravity is already kind of low, but when you add 400 grams down low, your center of gravity is very low. Because the normal truck only weighs, with wheels and tires and everything, a normal truck is about 600 grams. I don't know what a Mias is, but a regular truck is 600 grams. Top heavy, flip over. These are not top heavy, and then 400 grams underneath it. I mean, that your center of gravity is below, probably midway through the transmission. So that's very good. Wheels, I use Trill and Endura and Maz Designs, but I use Maz Design beadlock rings on my Trills. And if I wasn't color coding, I'll be honest, I would put the Maz Designs beadlock rings on all my trucks. I have them on 2 of my trucks, but I'd put them on all the trucks. So Maz Designs, plus, hey, you look at the hubs, you look at the, beadlock rings, all this stuff is made in China, except a few parts. So whatever you can buy in the United States, buy it. So 3Flow 9 is in the US. Buy what they sell. Maz Designs in the US. Now I know their little screws come from China, but that's okay. They make the titanium beadlock rings. And they make wheels. They just launched new wheels, but these wheels are made by Maz Designs. And they look great. They also look great with that ramp crab nut in the middle. Matches perfectly, by the way. Anyway. So buy in the US as much as you can. NSDRC servos. Now, I don't know who makes the servo. I don't know if they're made in the US or not, but I do know that the company's in the US. So I'd much rather have the middleman get money than just everything go to China. So, but then you got Mias, then you got Endura. All those are from China. They make quality parts. Trill. So, I mean, you got to use the China stuff, but whenever you can, buy from the US. Okay? So, LGRP tires, Trill wheels, Maz Design beadlock rings, and Maz Designs scale nut screws. It's a pain in the ass to do these over and over and over again, but man, they look great. So, that's that on the wheels. And those are just suggestions. I mean, wheels, you can get whatever you want, tires, whatever you want. A lot of guys like the DJ crawlers. I'm not a fan, but that's just my opinion. You know, throw them on there. I wish somebody made a 68 millimeter or 70 millimeter that was, you know, quality product. I'd be all over it. But traction and crawling ability, the Swamp Kings are top of the line. All right. Last place. So I can talk about this. Headlights are the Angel Eye Mias and the Mias light bar. You can get those in a package kit for $30. That's what I did. That's what I have on all 4 Rippers. And I'll have the light bar on my stock body too. So, Mias lights. Inside the truck. Which once you build it, the only reason you need to get in here is for battery change out, battery charging. So this pops out, and I have to take my time so I don't mess up my wrap. So I've got, I can't remember how you say it, Ovonic, and this is, you know, they're making these for drones, but Ovonic 850 milliamps hours, 80C, which is awesome in these little trucks. And this is a 3S. High discharge. I love these batteries. I have them in everything. I even use Ovonic in a lot of my big stuff. You can get them on Amazon. They're not the cheapest ones, but they're not the most expensive ones either. They're probably right down the middle, but they work great without issue. So that's the battery I use, 3S. If you've got the electronics I have, there's no reason not to do 3S. Because you can do 4S, and that's overkill, so just do 3S. Again, my opinions. Let's see. So, let's try and get that motor in here. There we go. If I can get to it. So here you can see I got the Furatech Cedar motor. It's their newest offering. You can get that with the Python Pro, and it's called something stupid. I don't know. But $125 now you can get the Cedar and the Python Pro. I have one Python Pro, and it's not in this vehicle. What's in this vehicle is my favorite ESC, which I know it's hard to see. It's all covered up. But it's an aluminum case Lizard Ultimate from Furatech. Lizard Ultimate ESC. To me, here's the big difference I see. The Python Pro is bigger. It's taller. It's longer. Those two things make it almost impossible to get everything inside the cabin of the Ripper. I like cleanness. I don't like things hanging out or moving around. And with my setup for the 4-wheel steering, I can't put a big box in the back and act like it's a gas tank or whatever. So everything has to go inside. The Lizard Ultimate allows me to do so. Now, the Python Pro can fit, but it takes a long time to get it right. It takes tedious work. I did it, and you can do it. It just takes a lot of work. So, there's no real good way to see the transmission, but that is a hot racing transmission with hot racing crawler gears. The reason I went with this is because it has a sight window so you can check your grease coverage and you can check your mesh. The mesh between the motor and the gears. And why would you need to check that? Well, you would need to check that because it's adjustable on here. This is the only transmission where you can change your pinion and have it fit properly because you can adjust for it. None of the other ones you can't. I use Trill transmission cases and Mias gears forever, and they're great. They work just fine. But if you're ever wanting to upgrade to a new pinion or change this, that, or the other, you're gonna need to move your motor. So why not be able to at the same price? I mean, it's a little more expensive, but it's worth it. And then the gears inside, the hot racing gears, are lightweight. You hear about people talking about lightweight flywheels on their race cars, stuff like that. Well, this has got lightweight gears in it. So they're steel, they're hardened, and they've got big holes in them to save weight. So haven't seen an issue with them yet. Haven't tested them a lot, but it's a great idea, and hopefully it pans out for me. Again, if you don't want to risk it because there's not a whole lot of data out on the hot racing transmissions, go with a Trill case and get you some Mia's internal gears. Last little bit of electronics is Radiolink R6 T6, I think, TG. I don't know, it's hard for me to see. But that is a 6-channel Radiolink receiver. So what that allows me to do is I've got 2 steering servos, that's 2 channels. I've got the ESC, which is another channel, that's 3. I got the headlights on 4, and I've got the upper light on 5. That means I got 1 open channel for another light or something else in the future. But my builds take 5 channels to work properly. If you're gonna get the lights, you can put them both on the same channel, I think, but it's hard to get them both to work in sync. I mean, when you click the button, they both change. So yeah, I don't know. They need to be on separate channels. And you don't have to have 2 servos, obviously, so you could get away with a 4-channel. A 4-channel, you can have a servo, ESC, headlights, roof light, and be done. Which I have 4 channels. I have micro 4 channels, which are little bitty things, which would make my life a lot easier inside the cabin there. But I wanted 5, so I gotta go with the 6-channel, which is bigger. Takes up a little more room, but as you can see, cram-packed inside there, it's still not bad. Everything fits. There's no, everything moves around freely. Once the lid's on that, nothing moves, but it worked out pretty good. And guys, get it to work. I mean, really. I mean, it's made this way for a reason. It's made so that you can put everything inside here and not have to worry about it. Now, if you got the big blue box, the stock big blue box, fine. That's supposed to go in the back. But if you're not using the big blue box, you should be able to get it all to fit inside the cab. Just like that. And then it's beautiful. What else? Shocks. I missed the shocks. So shocks, I'm using Endura and Trail. I've got Trail on 3 of them and Endura on 2. The Endura shock ripper actually took the springs out of so it can ride a little bit better, and it does. I might start taking some of these springs out of the Trails too, by the way. I mean, it would look and go a lot better fully seated. They just lift up just a little too much spring. But the Trail shocks have been good. I used to only use GPM, which they're really good. So I've used almost every shock available on every Amazon, eBay. I haven't used all the ones on A-Main Hobbies because they got some expensive shit. But to me, the Trails, GPM, they're the highest quality, best looking. And then next you got the Enduras, which work just as well. Not as pretty, but they work just as well. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're not buying the $14 set of shocks on Amazon or eBay, you should be okay. The big thing is checking the spring. I mean, they gotta have a lightweight spring or they're not gonna work. Like the new Mias shocks. They look cool, and they would have been cool to put on like my stock body Bronco build or maybe even a Ripper, but the spring is just too strong, and then the suction is too strong as well. Now I know I could drill holes in the little damper plate inside there, and I can make it move more freely, but I really don't want to tear them up. I've done that before, and I don't know, I just don't feel like doing it. I got good shocks, so I'm going to stick with them. What else? I think that covers the entire build. Spacers. You can get colored spacers. You can get some on Amazon, but they're outrageously priced. So I got all these off AliExpress. They're all aluminum. And I got every color in the rainbow. So when I'm building more of these, I still have a ton of spacers and standoffs. I'll tell you, a 3mm standoff just does wonders. That thing don't move at all. You can see they're cocked in a little bit, but that's by design. There's actually a step underneath here. So they work great. Everything works really good. So I think that covers the build. Trying to think of what's different in some of the others. I mean, Red's got the trail portals. Trail's got the Endura wheels. I'm trying to think. I don't know, they're all pretty close, but they do have some differences. Mainly shocks, wheels and tires, and portals. And the blue that's got trailing arms and speed gears. I guess I could go through that real quick. So old blue here. Differences. Old Blue has trail wheels that has the Maz design beadlock ring and LGRP tires. Then you got the Mias trailing arms with 2 pair of trail shocks in the rear, on with springs, all without. I do want to mention, guys, here's where you get into customizing. You can't just buy the parts that I suggest here and put them on and they automatically work. That's just not how it works. You got to make modifications. So, what did I have to modify? One is going to be, it can run as it is, but I don't like the pinion angle right here. And the reason for that is that the trailing arms are longer than the links. So I'm trying to extend those, and I'll show you what I come up with. It works, but it could be better. So you cut out the back for the steering or not. Use Endura front shock mounts, upper shock mounts. And you can see you have to cut this out, put this in, bolt it in properly. Then you have to cut out, there's another roll bar piece that comes from the top up here. And so you got to cut that out. So there's a lot of cutting, and a lot of things you got to do to make it stable. So if you buy trailing arms, it's just not a bolt-up situation. And you'll find out as soon as you start trying to do it. It's just not that easy on a ripper. Now, on the stock body, pretty much just bolt in, except for the fact that the diff angle is not great on that one either. So I've got to adjust. And I've got some things coming. Should be tomorrow? No, I don't know when they're coming. Sometime soon, tomorrow, Saturday. It might be tomorrow, and I'll show you that when I get it figured out. It's going to be something that nobody's done before, just like the rest of this. I've had to just work on it myself and come up with things that work. And that takes time and money. So watch my videos, figure out how I did it, and do it that way. Just so you know that it will work. And 2, it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of money. You don't have to be experimenting with this stuff. I've already done it. And that's why I do this little show. It's not a show, it's a video. So I do these little videos just to show you guys what needs to be done to do certain things. So, with that being said, I think that's our show for today, our video for today. Time to put up the trucks and go relax and watch some TV. And download this video. So, I want to thank you for watching. I hope this helps. My next video probably will be on resolving the diff gear angle, or it will be on the stock body Bronco build, because I still got stuff to do on it. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget, there's a big giveaway going on right now. If we get to 400 subscribers by next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday, I'll give out parts and a cash prize. Or if both winners want parts, I can do it. I'll do whatever you want. You can either have cash or prizes. Yeah, it's like Wheel of Fortune, cash and prizes. So, thanks guys. I appreciate your time and watching my little videos, and I will see you again soon. Thanks so much. Later.